Welcome back to the Thrifty Food Plan channel, friends. I am so glad you are here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to keep our Easter costs under control. About 4 out of 5 U.S. residents celebrate Easter, and we spend an average of $170 each year on Easter. Let's not do that. And I'm going to share some of my top tips for keeping Easter costs low. And I invite all of you to share your tips in the comments below about how you keep Easter costs low if you celebrate. Please do hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and the notification bell. Do all the things you can to support this channel. Let's get to it. Hi, friends. So let's talk a little bit about Easter. I dropped in the description box below sort of a survey that was done that did show that Americans spend, the average U.S. resident spends about $170 on Easter every year. And I kind of get it, because if you've got like a bunch of young kids, that's a lot of Easter baskets. At the same time, that felt like an enormous amount of money to me to spend on Easter. So I'm going to share some of the top tips that, frankly, I have used over the years to keep kind of my grocery costs low, but also some of the other kind of expenses that can come up around Easter. And I invite all of you to please share your tips in the comments below if you celebrate Easter, because, you know, it's next Sunday and a lot of us may be spending way more than we need to. So sharing some ideas about how to keep those costs low, I think would help all of us, and they'll help me. Because apparently somehow I have volunteered myself to like host Easter for, you know, College Phenom is off at college, but I have somehow volunteered myself to host an Easter gathering next Sunday. So I need to be keeping my costs low. And I imagine if you celebrate, you want to keep your costs low too, because we're not going to spend $170. So when I was a little girl, I definitely grew up in a household where, you know, my mother made the big Easter dinner. I remember having like it wasn't a honey baked ham, it wasn't a branded ham, but it was like a sweetened spiral cut ham. I remember having that every single year at Easter. And my daughter has not grown up with that tradition, because I think my number one tip for Easter is to make the Easter meal brunch instead of a big lunch or a big dinner or a dinner, which is kind of how my mom did it. We ate at about 2:30 in the afternoon after church. We'd come home and have like a big meal that was dinner. And I want to suggest that we do it as brunch food instead of dinner food. And frankly, that's because, you know, the breakfast food is typically cheaper. And, you know, so like I can make a big frittata, for example, that can feed 4 people, 6 people, 8 people. I can make a big frittata. I can make one using regular eggs, but I also, and we'll talk about the eggs in a minute. I also, though, currently as a whole food plant-based vegan, I can use one making chickpea flour, right, and kind of have that as the main entree. So I really want to suggest that you think about doing brunch instead of dinner, big lunch, because it's cheaper. It's just cheaper. The other thing that I really want to suggest to everyone, kind of tip number 2, is whatever meal you're going to make your meal plan based on what you already have on hand and what the loss leaders are at your grocery store. I say this because, you know, the groceries do run specials for holidays and things like that. So for example, right now at my Kroger, in the flyer, the week before Easter, there is asparagus for 99 cents. And I'm going to buy 2 pounds of asparagus, maybe just 1 pound, but I'm going to buy asparagus when I go to the grocery store, and I will serve that with my brunch, whether I put it in the frittata or I serve it as a veggie on the side. kind of steamed or grilled or whatevs, right? But like asparagus is going to be part of my life next Sunday. It is, because it's a loss leader and it's 99 cents a pound, which is my buy price for fruits and vegetables in many, many ways. And like if you eat meat, they will in all likelihood be running specials on ham, ham steak, spiral ham, all that sort of stuff. In prior years, the College Phenom used to be a pescatarian, and in prior years, I sometimes found that they also would have good deals on like salmon fillets. So just all of that to say, think about doing brunch instead of a lunch or dinner or dinner meal, because breakfast foods tend to be cheaper. But also build whatever meal you're going to make around what you already have on hand and what is on sale at the grocery store. So like I already have chickpea flour, which is why I'm thinking frittata. The other thing I want to say is if you, like me, are going to be hosting people, right? It's not just the folks who live in your household, but you are hosting people. Absolutely make it a potluck. Make it a potluck. Like a standing rule in my house is that I'm sober. I got sober in January 2021. So like I don't keep alcohol in my house. At this point in my sobriety journey, I don't mind if people do drink alcohol in my house, but they have to bring it themselves. And so if the co-parent and their partner or my friends who are coming over next Sunday, if they want to have mimosas with brunch, they're going to have to bring the orange juice and the champagne, because I'm not buying those things. And I'll probably ask somebody to bring dessert food. So don't be shy about making it potluck. When people pitch in, they kind of have an investment in the meal, and it's not rude or weird to ask people to do that, particularly if you're hosting like a large group of people. Make it a potluck and assign people side dishes and drinks and desserts, and you figure out what you can make with what you have on hand and what the loss leaders are, and make that the gift to the community or the family that you are convening for the holiday. Okay, so tip number 3 is to make whatever meal you prepare, make it a potluck. The 4th tip is really about the eggs. And so I understand that egg prices have been really, really expensive, and I understand that the prices have come down some. I also know from like my own lived experience that dyeing those eggs was like a ritual that my daughter looked forward to every single year. She just loved doing it. She loved doing it. And the dye kits eventually became pretty expensive, and so we did different things with eggs. When the dye kits were like $5, we would decorate them with crayons and stickers and markers instead of buying the dye kits. But she really loved sort of the ritual and fun of decorating the eggs. She just absolutely loved it, and she looked forward to it every year. And so I did always buy a dozen eggs around Easter. Here's my pro tip if you're going to buy the eggs for dyeing. You don't actually have to boil the eggs and make hard-boiled eggs in order to dye them. You can dye raw eggs and it works just fine. I mean, you have to be careful so they don't break with the little kids. The benefit of that is that you can use them for more food items than you can hard-boiled eggs. Really, hard-boiled eggs, you're either going to eat hard-boiled eggs, deviled eggs, egg salad, right? And so my pro tip might be, if you're going to buy the eggs, think about dyeing them without boiling them, and that way you could use them to make something like a frittata if you're going to do brunch instead of a dinner, right? But you also just can use them for a lot of different things: baking, scrambled eggs, fried eggs, all the things, right? So if you eat eggs, just know you do not have to boil the eggs in order to dye them. And if you don't boil them, there are just more ways you can use them, either for your Easter meal or subsequently, in my opinion. Now, the other thing that's true, if like the ritual of dyeing the eggs or decorating eggs is not important to you, or you don't have children at home, is you can skip the egg tradition altogether. One of my friends did tell me, and she has young children at home, she did tell me that this year she's not buying eggs. She's going to go and buy just some fake eggs, right? Just some fake eggs, like the plastic eggs, and she's going to use those instead because she can get them for like, 99 cents at the Walgreens or something. She found some special deal. So you also could not use actual eggs. That's another option. So that's kind of tip number 3. Like, if you're going to do the egg thing, make sure you can actually eat those eggs in a multitude of different ways, and you don't have to boil them. You also might be able to save some money by buying just a tube of plastic eggs when they're on sale someplace. So that's a way to save on your Easter egg hunt. Okay, my tip number 5 is really to leverage the Dollar Tree and the Goodwill to build Easter baskets. If you have children at home, or you have some kind of tradition of exchanging kind of Easter gifts, that sort of thing, I just want to encourage everyone to really look at the Dollar Tree and or the Goodwill. This is an Easter basket that I put together for the college phenom when she was still at home. And that Easter basket, we probably had that thing for 6 or 7 years, but all the goodies that went into that Easter basket were $1 or less. This is back when the Dollar Tree was $1. But like, really look around for sales. And I think like another pro tip I would say is that, I did limit the amount of candy that I would put in her Easter basket. So I would bulk it up with things like, the Easter socks that you can get at the Goodwill or at the Dollar Tree. I would bulk it up with, little plushy animals I could get at the Dollar Tree or the Goodwill. So, I did buy her candies that she liked. She loved that juicy fruit gum. She loved Tootsie Rolls. And in the back there, the gluten-free packet you can see in the back, those are freeze-dried strawberries, right? So anyway, like, please, if you're going to be doing Easter baskets and Easter decorations and all of those kind of things, please do yourself a favor and check at the Dollar Tree and check at the Goodwill before you buy anything at the grocery store or a department store. Give it a try. So for my 6th tip, I would just say that one of the things I have always appreciated about Easter is that it is a holiday that lends itself well to free surrounding or low-cost activities, right? So when I was a little girl, we would always go to church Easter morning and to Sunday school. We do the whole thing. When I was a little girl, we went to church every Sunday and sometimes on Wednesdays. I grew up in the deep South, so it was a thing. But we definitely went to church, right? That is a free activity except for the offering plate and whatever you might tithe as you choose as part of your tradition. Easter egg hunts are obviously free except for the cost of the eggs and whatever you put in them. There were other things, though, that we did as a family growing up that I've sort of continued those traditions forward with my daughter and those who gather with me on Easter. Sometimes we watch an afternoon movie. We typically go for a very long walk kind of after we eat, just to go look at all of the springtime birds and little green sprouts of living plant life that are starting to come back where we live. We do those kind of things. And then sometimes, like at night on Easter Sunday when I was a little girl, we would do puzzles or play board games, those sorts of things. And those are traditions that I've continued. So my 6th tip is to really maximize the fact that Easter is a holiday that has lots of like free activities that can go along with it. I know where I live, the big amusement park opens every year on Easter. And so my guess is some of the families that are spending $170 on average are spending $170 on amusement park tickets because the amusement park opens on Easter Sunday. But think about, maximize the reality that Easter is a holiday that comes with built in free activities or low cost activities you can use, using what you already have on hand or picking up a cheap puzzle someplace, right, to do as a family activity. And then, my final tip, my seventh tip is that, when I was a little girl, almost every year, my mother would make me or buy me kind of a new dress to wear to church for Easter Sunday. She'd do the same for my sister and for herself. And I would just say, in this day and age, it just feels different to me. I don't know that everybody needs a new Sunday dress for Easter. Now, it might be a little different if if you have young children and they've grown out of it and you want to buy them a new dress for summer. What I would say is that apparently U.S. residents spent $3.44 billion last year on new clothes for Easter. And 4 out of 10 of them actually shopped at a department store. And so I would just say that take a look at what you already have in your closet, and if you don't need to buy anything new, don't buy anything new. And if you do need to buy something new, maybe check in at the Goodwill, or check in at a cheaper place than a department store. Go to a Target or to the Walmart, right? Like, go some places maybe that are a little cheaper than a department store to get Easter clothes for yourself and your children. So these are sort of my top 7 tips to keep Easter costs low. Brunch instead of a big meal. Meal plan, whatever meal you're going to cook around what is on sale, what the loss leaders are at your grocery, and what you already have on hand. Please make it a potluck. People want to help and they want to pitch in, and they are happy to gift some food to whatever community you are convening around your table. Please make it a potluck. With the Easter eggs, if you're going to do real eggs, just remember you don't have to boil them first, which does increase the ways that you can actually use those eggs. Absolutely look at Dollar Tree, Goodwill, other places to find cheap things to put in an Easter basket or to decorate with. Pretty please. There is no reason to be spending $7 on a candle or $7 on Tootsie Rolls. No reason. Tip number 6, kind of maximize all the free things you can do for Easter, whether that is church or going for a long walk to look at spring taking shape, a movie night, using kind of a video service that you might already be paying for. Just all the things, like maximize the fact that Easter is not a holiday that requires a bunch of paid activities. And then finally, if you don't need to, don't buy new Easter clothes. Just use what you already have. And if you do have a growing child and they need some new Easter clothes, shop at less expensive places, including places like Goodwill. All right, y'all, those are my top 7 tips for keeping our Easter costs low. Please share all of your tips for everybody in this community in the comments box below. Again, likely that 4 out of 5 of us watching this channel are going to be celebrating Easter next Sunday, and it would just be great if we could all share our tips and tools of the trade in the comments to help everyone in this community keep our costs low. Thanks so much for visiting, and do hit that like button, do subscribe, and do come back on Thursday when I will have a grocery haul and meal plan.